Hello, fellow yappers, and welcome to the Late Night Yap with your host, Lexiee, where I read all of your favorite Reddit stories so you don't have to. All you have to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy. Make sure you also give me a like and subscribe down below so you can see more of these videos in the future. I don't know how to break up with my girlfriend. We, 28 male and 27 female, have been together for 4 years. I have been feeling like we'd be better off if we broke up. We have loads of good times and all couples argue, but I don't feel like I can proceed any further in the relationship. I love her, I love spending time with her, but I don't really see a future. And I feel like I'm stuck in limbo. However, any chances I've had recently to break up with her, I always chicken out and instantly start thinking about our good times and feel really upset. There's always been arguments where she even asked if I wanted to break up and I just said no, even though I do. Or at least I think I do. I also don't really want to hurt her. Anytime I imagine us breaking up and how she'll feel. Imagining her crying breaks my heart. But I just feel like I'm stuck because I can't take the next step in the relationship, but also not strong enough to break up with her. I just don't know what to do or how to do it. I guess I'm also really scared of confrontation and don't want to hurt her. I'm posting this to see if anyone has been in this position where they also wanted to break up for a while and couldn't. What made you finally bite the bullet and do it? And how did it go? Why would I feel for a while like I want to break up with her just then not be able to do it? The first comment says, it's totally normal to feel stuck and scared about breaking up, especially after years together. Loving someone but not seeing a future is really hard. Acknowledging that staying isn't fair to either one of you. When you're ready to choose a calm, private time, be clear but kind. Focus on your feelings rather than blame. It's okay to feel sad or scared. It shows you care, but holding on out of fear only prolongs the pain. Taking that step is tough, but it's the only way to move forward for the both of you. Being open and honest and having clear communication about your feelings. If you feel like you can't communicate in a relationship, the relationship is already over. I know it's really difficult, especially when you love and care about somebody, but at the end of the day, you have to think about how they might feel too if you lingered around and you didn't have your full heart into it like they did. It would be even more of a letdown to pretty much lead somebody on to our next story. Am I overreacting to my wife's affair? I felt like a toddler throwing a tantrum, asking my wife, why? Why would you do this to me, to us, our family? My wife didn't feel loved. She said I didn't do much. She said she cheated because she changed more diapers than I did. She cheated because she cooked more than I did. She cheated because she cleaned more than I did. She woke up more nights to tend to our babies than I did. She walked the dogs more than I did. My wife, a stay-at-home mom for about a year, and now she works part-time. I try my best. I work 48 hours a week. It's really hard to do everything at home when you work that much outside of the house compared to my wife's 4-hour a day at work. Our kids are 2 years old and 8 months old. I found most of this information going through my wife's phone. My wife ended up cheating on me with a man she met at a children's group. She cheated on me with a single dad. She immediately attracted to him because he was the only dad at the event. His wife passed away. My wife is drawn to him being a devoted dad. He had the time to go to these events and be a dad and work at the same time because he has involved grandparents that help out a lot. My wife would go over to his house with our kids. I know everyone is going to ask why didn't my kids say anything to me? Well, one of my kids is 8 months old and the other one is 2. My 2-year-old has a speech delay and he can only say 2 words. My kids are too small to understand what's going on. They don't automatically think I see a different man and that means mommy is cheating. They don't understand any of that. Their memories don't work like that either. I'm sure my wife isn't blowing this guy in front of my kids and she keeps it friendly when my wife is around the kids in front of this man. But this is how my wife and this guy are spending so much time together. She also lies when she says she's going somewhere, leaves the kids with me, and goes out with her boyfriend. They text all the time. That's really what made me think something is going on. She was just on her phone so much. My wife says says she's not sorry for cheating on me. I deserved it by being such an absentee father. She says my 2-year-old prefers mom and never goes to dad because my 2-year-old doesn't know me like that, and how the kids only know their mother, and I'm just gonna get stripped away my parental rights when she leaves me for her boyfriend, since that's the kind of state we live in too. She told me that she fell in love with the other man, and that's what hurts the most out of all of this. Part of me wants to go to this guy's house and punch him in the face. First comment says, you need to leave this evil witch. Cheating is not the answer. What is wrong with you guys? When you're in a marriage with somebody, you are committed to them. Just go to couples counseling. If couples counseling doesn't work, then break up. My teen daughter left the country for a 28-year-old man. Throwaway account, and I've reposted this in a few places. This one was posted on r/advice. My daughter, female, 18, and she ran away with a 28-year-old man. When did she meet this man? Moved out due to a summer program at the college she will be attending this fall. Our family is super excited, and we had a celebration dinner and a goodbye. She lived at a college a few hours from us and left 2-ish weeks ago. I knew she had a long weekend coming up and offered for her to come home. She wanted to stay with her friends, no big deal. Anyway, the Saturday of that weekend, my husband, 44 male, opened Find My iPhone to find his missing laptop. According to that, her phone was in the UK. So she took his laptop and went to the UK? We panicked thinking it got stolen and called her. She picked up confused, and we asked why she was in the UK. She got jumpy and said she was meeting a friend from the UK, which was weird because she had never mentioned a friend from there or traveling. This is very unusual, as she tells me everything. We called daily for an hour or so and are super close. We thought it was weird, but asked her to send a picture and please don't leave the country without telling us again. My husband was pretty mad about it, citing safety concerns. I agreed, but she's 18 and very independent, so I don't know about that. At 18, my other daughter, 16 female, let's call her Callie, came into her room later that night, clearly anxious. She told us Amy had been texting a random man from the UK on Instagram since she was 17. Oh my god. So that means he was 27? I didn't even know she had an Instagram? What? He is 28. Callie told us that Amy gushed about how nice he was, saying things like, he actually thinks I'm pretty and he wants to take me on a date in public. Amy told Callie this summer and begged her to keep it a secret. Callie did, but felt bad about it. When she heard Amy was in the UK, then she told us. My heart immediately sunk. For context, Amy has always been really insecure of her looks. I've told her she's pretty, but to be blunt, Callie is the pretty sister. I hate it, but conventionally speaking, it is Callie. Of course, I think both of my daughters are stunning. I've tried my best to encourage Amy to love herself. I avoid complimenting the girls as not to put emphasis on their appearance. I talk a lot about being more than your body, eating when you're hungry, and your body is not a reflection of your worth. But Amy's had it hard. She never got any guy's attention before this one. I tried to tell her it's probably just high school and most guys aren't interested in dating, and it's not her. I tried to encourage her approach to guys instead, but that has always ended up ghosting and some pretty nasty things said to Amy. Callie has always gotten guys' interest. She's had dozens of admirers and 4 boyfriends already. Once, Callie went on a Valentine's date with her current boyfriend at the time, and I remember Amy being really glum to spend Valentine's Day with me and my husband. We made waffles and whipped cream, strawberries like we always do, but I could tell Amy was really hurt. I tried bringing it up. Amy got defensive and said, why do you assume I'm jealous of her? You must think she's prettier than me or something. So I dropped it. Additionally, my grandmother, who is passed away now sadly, was known for her beauty. Everyone raved about how pretty she was, and old pictures confirmed it. It was almost a legendary thing how beautiful my grandmother was. And as Callie grew, the resemblance is uncanny. She looks like a carbon copy, and everyone says so in family gatherings despite my efforts to stop. Additionally, I heard that my mother told Amy point blank that she is not as pretty as Callie, and while it's understandable to be jealous, don't be so jealous you're mean to Callie. She said this more than once. When I found out, I was furious and had a screaming match with my mother, which is a story for another day. Yeah, because why would you say that to a young girl? Like, oh, your sister's prettier than you, by the way. Treat both the siblings equal. What's wrong with y'all? All in all, Amy clearly finds herself ugly and undesirable. I feel so guilty as a mother. I remember reading all the things on how to give your child healthy body image and really did try at every corner to make all of my babies feel good about themselves. But now my 18-year-old daughter has run away with a 28-year-old man she met online to a foreign country. According to credit card statements my husband dug up, she has a flight back home to her college on Monday night. Obviously, as a mother, I want to drag Amy back home and handcuff her to me until she's 25 and her brain is fully developed, which, by the way, your brain does not develop at 25. Her father wants us to fly to the UK and confront this creep, but Amy is 18 and clearly hurting, and I would never want to jeopardize her chances at this university or program. I'm at a loss for what to do. Please help a mama out. Well, that guy is a predator. First comment said, you made a post about your one daughter running off, but made most of the post about a wall of text how you think your other daughter is prettier than her. Don't for a second think you haven't, either intentionally or unintentionally, given Amy her negative body image that made her susceptible to grooming. The girl definitely wants her freedom. It's not normal for an 18-year-old to talk on the phone to their parents for an hour every day. Way too enmeshed. To be honest, I felt suffocated reading this. Next comment replied to that saying, yeah, I stopped reading that wall of text about how attractive the other daughter was. Very disturbing. Another comment says, I'm hoping this post isn't real because reading all of that was exhausting. Yeah, right? Like, what does your daughter's looks have anything to do with her currently being in the UK? A simple, she hasn't gotten a lot of attention from the opposite gender would have sufficed. Low-key, the story kind of sounds fake. My longtime close friend cheated on his wife. Am I overreacting by wanting to end the friendship? Absolutely not. I have been married to my wife for well over a decade. One of her lifelong best friends, let's call her Sarah, has been a part of our lives since we started dating over 15 years ago. Sarah was dating and married, but what has become one of my closest friends, Mike, someone I hit it off with immediately and have considered like a brother for over a decade. Both my wife and I, Sarah and Mike, have young kids who are all very close. And we've done life together. Holidays, trips, camping, helping each other with house projects, schools, barbecue, you name it. We're even godparents to each other's children. Recently, Sarah has confided in my wife that Mike cheated on her with another woman, someone that is a friend, but more of an acquaintance to us. It wasn't some distant past thing. This was recent and she was blindsided. I'm absolutely gutted. I'm furious with him. Disappointed isn't even the right word. I feel like something sacred was broken and I've lost a friend because the friend I know would have never done this. I'm struggling with whether I can even look him the same way again. I have proof that he cheated because Sarah showed my wife the inappropriate messages between Mike and the woman he cheated with. Physical and emotional cheating. My wife does not lie about things like this. She's a good person, mother, and friend. My wife and I are doing everything we can to support Sarah and her kids. Right now, that means being there emotionally, practically, and giving her a safe space where she and her children feel loved and secure. Here's where I'm stuck. I want to cut Mike completely off. I haven't told him about this, but I already mentally distanced myself. I haven't confronted him yet. Part of me wonders if I'm overreacting. This isn't my marriage and people make mistakes and there's always relationship dynamics that you are not aware of. But another part of me feels like I have a moral obligation to stand by Sarah, my wife, and our shared families, especially when trust and family have always been at the center of our marriage. Is it fair to end a 15-year friendship over this? Am I making this too personal, or is this a boundary worth drawing? Looking for honest thoughts, especially from others who have been in long-term friendships that have them tested in similar ways. Yeah, I mean, I've had friendships end mostly because of jealousy or just not agreeing with the person that they've become. You just have to sit back and think, would this person try to cheat with my wife? Do I feel comfortable around this person? Do I trust this person? And do you still want to be friends with that person? If you can't think of a good reason why you want to continue being friends with them, it is totally okay to end a friendship over something like this. Especially because a lot of men will stand behind other men when they cheat. And I think that's completely wrong. If your bro cheats on his girl, you need to stand up and say, no, that is wrong and cheating is not okay. Maybe you guys can work it out. Maybe he made a mistake that him and his wife can reconcile. I think that you should not get in between their relationship, but you can distance yourself, let them figure it out. Obviously, let your wife be there for Sarah and be there for your friend, but you should also let him know that he is no longer welcome in your house. And we have an update. I just wanted to sincerely thank everyone who took the time to read, reflect, and respond to my original post. Your feedback, whether supportive, challenging, or a mix of both, really helped me take a step back and examine the situation with more clarity and humility. I especially appreciate those of you who challenged my perspective that wasn't always easy to hear, but it was exactly what I needed. I ended up talking to Mike last night, and I didn't cast any stones or make it about me. I simply listened. Mike owned up to what happened. He admitted that he really screwed up. He's devastated by the damage that he caused, and no, he may not be able to fix things. But he also told me he's committed to doing everything in his power to make things right, whatever that ends up looking like. He has a therapy appointment lined up. That's great. And we both agree that having an unbiased person to talk to, someone with the right tools, is a smart and necessary step. I absolutely agree with that. I told Mike I'm here for him as a friend, not to excuse his actions, but to be a listening ear to make sure that he's not walking through this alone. I also made him promise me point blank that if he ever felt like hurting himself, that he would tell me right away. He promised and said he would never go down that road. I believe him, but I'm gonna keep checking in. As for Sarah, my wife and I remain 100% committed to supporting her and the kids in every way we can. That's our focus. If she decides to reconcile with Mike at some point, we will honor that too, but that decision is entirely hers. You have to let them work out their relationship. If she decides to stay, that's her choice. We are not going to try to influence her one way or another. I'm still grieving the friendship I thought I had, and that may take time to sort through. But for now, I'm trying to act with compassion to protect what matters most and take things one day at a time. Thanks again for helping me to get some perspective. First comment. In theory, your wife/husband is your very best friend. Men and women who can screw them over and have zero value to other friendships, at best, those people are no more than acquaintances. OP responded and said, "That's what I keep going back to. If he wanted to separate from his wife and pursue someone else, I could completely understand that, but this seems really up." Another comment said, "If he doesn't resonate with you anymore on a personal level, you have your right to distance yourself. Honestly, you're not even required to explain anything to him. Just take a step back." That being said, I'm reading from your post that he is not a direct friend of yours, more like the husband of your wife's friend first, and then he became a friend later. If he was really an intimate friend of yours, first and foremost, you probably would have found out that story from him and not your wife. It's entirely possible that you don't know his side of the story. I am not defending him at all, but if he wants to speak with you, you can be available to hear his side of the story. Otherwise, feel free to distance yourself, and that's it. It's really not your marriage that was destroyed, so he doesn't really owe you an explanation, and you also don't owe him an explanation for distancing yourself. OP responded, "Your understanding is correct. He became a friend as his wife and my wife have been friends for a long time. He did confide in me not too long ago that they were experiencing marital problems, but there was no cheating involved. I gave him the best advice I could at the time and encouraged him to invest in his marriage and family. At the end of the day, that is what is most important. I agree, I do need to hear his side of the story." What side, though? He cheated. "And if he wants to speak with me." It's also possible that Sarah and Mike made amends, and who am I to get in the way of their healing process? But damn, it feels like I lost a friend because I would have never thought he would do this. Am I overreacting to my friend constantly forgetting her wallet when we go out? This has been building up for months, and I'm starting to feel like I'm going crazy. My friend Sarah and I hang out pretty regularly. Coffee dates, dinners, movies, the usual stuff. But literally every single time we go somewhere that costs money, she forgets her wallet or her card isn't working or some other convenient excuse. It started small. She ordered a $6 latte and be like, "Oh my God, I totally forgot my wallet. Can you spot me?" Obviously, I'd cover it because that's what friends do, right? But now it's escalated to full dinners, movie tickets, even Ubers where she's like, "Can you get this one? I'll Venmo you." Spoiler, she never Venmos me. She's a money grubber. I had some money come in from a slot win on a stake, so it's not like I'm broke, but I've probably spent $400+ on her stuff over the past few months, and she's never once returned the favor or even acknowledged it. Why are you still spending money on this person? Just tell her no. Last week was the final straw. We went to this nice brunch place. She ordered bottomless mimosas and an expensive entree, then pulls the wallet emergency again. When I suggested we just split what we each ordered, she got weird and said I was being money focused. Excuse me? Who are you? And that real friends don't keep score. But like, at one point, does this stop being forgetfulness and straight up using me as a personal ATM? She is using you as an ATM and she's gaslighting you. Am I overreacting for being annoyed? Should I just start suggesting free activities only? How do I bring this up without sounding like a cheapskate? Help me figure out if I'm the problem here. You ain't the problem. The money grubber is the problem. Am I overreacting? Principal of another school grabbed my daughter's arm and yelled at her. I contacted the school board. Last week, my 14-year-old daughter was away for her grad trip with her class. They went to a camp with about 8 other schools in our district. On the second last day of the trip, one of my daughter's close friends got in trouble and her parents were asked to come get her. My daughter was not involved in any way in what this other girl did. Before the girl left, all her friends wanted to go give her some last hugs, as teenage girls are when they're emotional and dramatic. After the girl left, 2 of my daughter's other friends went and called their mom because they were upset. Typical teenage girl stuff, IMO. My daughter was left behind with one of the counselors and asked if she could call me. The counselor gave her permission. They were at the dining hall and started to walk towards the office. It was then that the principal from the other school, who my daughter does not know, stopped her and the counselor and ordered her to go back to the dining hall as it was lunch. My daughter told her that she was on her way to call me and had permission. She thinks the principal saw her saying goodbye to her friend earlier. The principal told her that her friend leaving did not concern her and she shouldn't be upset and call home. My daughter said she started to get uncomfortable. The principal then grabbed her arm to direct her back to the dining hall. Yo, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, if a teacher ever put their hands on me, we would have a problem. She told her politely not to touch her because she did not feel comfortable and her grip was tight. The principal looked shocked and kept her hand around her bicep. Ooh! I'm telling you. My daughter started to cry, but she did not care. Instead, she said, "How dare you say that to me? And do you want to be next?" Referring to her friend leaving. I would have been like, "Yeah, get me out of here." Her aggressive language in this encounter has really disturbed me. Her counselor saw everything and did not know how to react. First of all, counselor, you tell her to stop and let go of the child. You tell her to get her hands off of the minor. Finally, the principal took her hand off her arm, asked for her name, and said she was reporting her. All she had to do was call me, and then she was not allowed to call me for 4 hours after this incident. The counselor is not doing their job. I just can't believe a teacher or principal would act this way, but am I overreacting or should I have just let it slide? I'm sure the teacher's patience was wearing thin on the second last day of this trip. I get that because it's all teenagers, but at the same time, if you put your hands on my kid, we're gonna have a problem. A big one. I'm not going to the school board. She better than me because I would be I would be up in that school, they would be terrified if I walked into that school. The teacher I spoke to while my daughter was still at the camp gave me a completely different story, and they were very wishy-washy when trying to explain what happened. Yeah, because they can get sued. That's why. The actual principal in question would not get on the phone with me even though I asked 2 times. The stories didn't match up, and my daughter has been consistent, and I don't think she's lying or fabricating anything. I want the principal to apologize to my daughter and get reprimanded for her behavior, but part of me feels like I went too far. I was very clear I did not want her fired or anything, just made aware that it's not okay to touch my kid in any way or threaten to send her home. We have a comment from a former teacher. Not overreacting. I agree. She's underreacting, if you ask me. Putting hands on a child or minor is a huge no. I would ask for video of the incident, escalate this, and don't say you want her reprimanded. She restricted your daughter physically, denied her access to call you when her daughter had permission, and threatened her. I would have your daughter write out everything in detail. This will keep details fresh as time elapses and memory fades. You have to retain a lawyer for access to the video. I'm assuming the school is like 99% of other schools that has video surveillance. I mean, if they were at a camp, in the lunch area, there should be a camera. By holding the principal accountable, you're teaching your daughter that you believe her and no one has the right, regardless of authority, to put their hands on her or verbally assault her and physically assault her, and that standing up for what is right isn't easy but worth it. The principal is a bully and she needs to be held accountable. OP replied and said, I'm not sure there is video. It was at a campground that is usually used as a summer camp during the summer months. I mean, I could ask, but it's not covered like the school is. Am I overreacting? Husband of 20 years tested positive for an STD. Hi, Reddit. I need to know if I'm being dramatic or if my reaction is justified. Long story short, my husband recently tested positive for Hep B. I only found out because I accompanied him to a doctor's appointment. He never told me. I heard it from the doctor directly during the consultation. This completely blindsided me. To make things worse, he previously made a big fuss about both of us getting tested. He was on my case about pap smears and STI tests, almost policing my sexual health like he was super concerned. Girl, he cheating. But now that he is the one with a positive result, he's gone quiet. Cause he cheating. I had to get tested urgently to make sure that I was okay. Thankfully, I'm clear. Well, that's thank God. But he's dodging accountability and downplaying the whole thing. Yeah, cause he cheating. I feel hurt, disgusted, and betrayed. As you should. We've been sleeping together without protection, and if he tested positive recently, I want to know how and when he got it. If he had it for a long time, why didn't he ever disclose it? I've asked him for the past test results, but he won't share anything. Instead, he's now trying to make appointments for us as a couple as if that's going to fix the lack of honesty. Part of me feels like I'm spiraling. I can't shake the anger. I feel like I was exposed without consent, which you were, because if he knew he had that, he should have told you. But I also wonder, am I overreacting? Is this a normal response to an STD situation in a marriage, or am I letting my emotions cloud everything? We'll love some outside perspective. And we have an update, a juicy update. After reading all responses, the reality of my nightmare has really hit me and I am losing it. I don't know how to deal with this, and he is acting innocent, acting like he got this STD from a toilet seat or it's like the flu or something. I'm so destabilized right now. This is a nightmare. Okay, so OP commented and said, there is a part that really seals it. I've tested negative and not just for active infection. My results show I haven't even been exposed, which makes me think this is a new infection. So even if we had shared razors or whatever, it still wouldn't add up. That leaves one likely explanation. He got infected outside of the marriage and didn't use protection and turned around and started policing my sexual health like I was the problem. The facts speaks for themselves, and I'm done doubting my instincts. OP said, thank you all so much for the support. It's been helping me more than I can say. The doctor told me I'm a candidate for the Hep B vaccine and I'm absolutely getting it. I've even gone as far as hiding my toothbrushes and anything personal he could possibly use to contaminate. I don't put it past him anymore. I agree with you. It sounds like he was trying to purposely make you get it and making you get tested so that he could be like, look, see, it was you the whole time. I'm currently sleeping in the guest room while I figure out my next steps. This isn't emotional betrayal anymore. It's a safety issue. I don't know how I'm going to untangle this yet, but I do know I'm not staying stuck. One step at a time, and I'll get out my peace, health intact. Again, thank you for holding space for me here. It means everything. Called 911, got attitude instead of help. Last night, I witnessed a car crash. It was in Chicago. There was some bad wreckage and a woman who managed to crawl out of the driver's seat of one vehicle. She collapsed and was crying in the arms of someone who pulled over to help. The other car, all I could see was a deployed airbag. I felt scared watching this, so I called 911. The operator picked up and transferred me to the police department. I explained what happened and she asked for a location. I told them where it was. The lady says, okay, what am I supposed to do with that? What interstate is it? I tell her, I don't know the number. She says, well, that's not much of a help now, is it? Then hangs up, saying she has other calls coming through that may better help. I understand I could have been more specific, but it was pretty shaken up. Plus, I just didn't know the name or number of the interstate. There's only 147 RLS in the city. Her interaction with me felt like she was being condescending and berating. It was especially frustrating because now instead of worrying about the victims of the crash, I'm over here pissed off at this lady. I don't know if I'm being selfish. I do feel like I'm making it all about me here, but I don't agree with the behavior. Honestly, I get where she's coming from. Like, you didn't have enough information and they were getting other calls, so she probably was like, oh, these other calls are probably for that crash. But at the same time, she could have said something completely different. That seems pretty rude. A dispatcher's job really is to get the information out of you. She could have asked more questions, because when you're in a state like that, their job is basically to be able to get the information out of you no matter what state you're in. So she obviously is not good at her job. Manager told me to hold it during a 9-hour shift with no breaks, so I clocked out midday. You go, Glen Coco. I, 27 female, work in retail, and yesterday we were severely short-staffed. My manager scheduled me for a 9-hour shift with no official break, which isn't legal where I live, but it's common practice at the store. About 4 hours in, I asked to run to the restroom. My manager, male 40s, told me to hold it until the floor slows down. I was like, it's been slammed for hours. When exactly is that happening? He shrugged and walked off. I waited another hour, and by then I was in literal pain. I told him again and he snapped, if you leave your post, you're abandoning the team. So I clocked out. I went to the bathroom and left the building entirely. I texted him, if you don't respect my basic bodily functions, you don't get to manage mine. Now I'm getting flooded with calls from HR and other managers telling me I overreacted and should have waited until my shift ended. But I think I did the bare minimum to not pee myself on the sales floor. Am I overreacting? No, absolutely not. Pee all over the floor and then make them clean it up. He said I embarrassed him for crying at a funeral. I've been dating my boyfriend for a year. We met in college, and honestly, I thought he was kind, calm, and emotionally mature. At least that's what I thought. So recently, one of my childhood best friends passed away suddenly. It hit me really hard, and I hadn't seen her as often lately, but she was still someone I loved deeply. I went to the funeral with my boyfriend because I didn't want to go alone, and he said he'd be there for me. At the funeral, I cried a lot. It wasn't loud or dramatic, I just couldn't stop the tears. I was heartbroken. Afterward, in the car, my boyfriend went completely quiet and I asked him what's wrong, and he said something like, you didn't have to make a scene like that. People were staring. You embarrassed yourself and me. I was stunned. I asked him what he meant, and he said I should have held it together like everyone else and made it all about me. I didn't scream, I didn't collapse, I didn't interrupt anything, I just cried at a funeral for my friend. Since then, I've been cold towards him, and now he's saying I'm overreacting and being emotionally manipulative by being distant. I've been spiraling ever since. Was I really being too much? I know not everyone handles grief the same way, but I thought he would at least comfort me and not judge me for it. Am I overreacting, or is this a red flag? Red flag alert. He's a jerk and I hate him. You're at a funeral. You're not allowed to cry at a funeral. Cry for your friend, girl. Break up with that man and then go cry for your friend. Also, I'm very sorry for your loss. That's I've lost a best friend too, and it's really difficult. Am I overreacting to my mom making comments on my body? I, 24 female, and my mom, 67 female, have a toxic relationship for a few years now. For important context, I used to be very skinny, like very underweight. I weighed about 90 pounds just last year. Recently, about August of 2024, I got into a very healthy relationship with this man and finally started taking medication for my anxiety. During this relationship, I gained a lot of happy weight due to the fact that I was on meds and my partner made me feel secure and comfortable, so I wasn't anxious all the time. And I actually had a healthy appetite for the first time in my life. Now in 2025, I have noticed some very apparent weight gain on myself, and I am now 135 pounds. My mother, who has always been a very health and weight conscious, has been making comments about it. For context, she has always been somewhat fat phobic or judgmental of curvier girls. Well, she would definitely not like me. Every time I go to make myself a meal, 9 times out of 10, this would be my first meal of the day, she will make comments like, "That's too many carbs," or "Why do you eat so much?" And I'm feeling like a fat slob. Fast forward to today. Me and my boyfriend came home from the mall with new clothes that I had bought because most of my old clothes didn't really fit me appropriately anymore. I bought new jeans because I had bought these same jeans last a year ago, and those didn't fit me either after the sudden weight gain, so I got ones that fit me as I am now. Well, when I got home, my mom asked me what I got, so I showed her, and when she saw the jeans, I said, "Yeah, I had to get another pair because the pair doesn't really fit me anymore." And she said, "I bet they'll fit me. Let me try them on. I'm smaller than you, and I know they'll fit me. You weigh more than me, you know. They'll fit me." I was pretty uncomfortable with it, so I said, "I feel like you're gonna body shame me if I let you, so no." And she said, "No, I won't." So I let her. And she tries them on and comes in my room and shows me, and she goes, "Look at your 67-year-old mother fitting into jeans that don't even fit you anymore." P.S. They didn't even fit her. They were squeezing the life out of her waist. I told her they look way too tight, and then she denied it. Then after she left my room, she texted me with this image inserted, and it looks like she's just trying to make me feel bad. Also, she had asked me how much I weighed, and I told her about 135, and she didn't believe me and proceeded to tell me, "You are not 135 pounds. You're so much bigger than me." I just ignored her because she makes me feel so bad about myself anyways. I'm so sorry for the long post, but am I overreacting? Is this my mom being mean? Thank you for reading if you did. Yo, your mom has problems. Your mom is jealous of you. That's exactly what that is. That's jealousy. She wishes that she could be you. Trigger warning, this story talks about miscarriage, so if you would like to skip it, please do so now. My husband left me alone unexpectedly today with our toddler while I'm having a miscarriage. I'm a working mom. We both work from home. Our nanny is on vacation this week, so no childcare. I got back yesterday from a 2-night work trip. I travel somewhat frequently. Before I left for my trip, I was feeling off and suspected I was going to miscarry. He knew all of this, and he knows the emotional toll this has had on me from previous losses. I took a final pregnancy test today and it was negative, so I knew what was coming, and I told him. I woke him up this morning to him telling me he was going to the office today, which is very rare unless he's conducting an interview. I was shocked, so said, "Okay," and laid back down. Once I fully woke up, I realized he left me high and dry at the worst possible time, with zero warning. I have been stuck at home today taking care of my toddler alone, trying to do my freaking job that pays our bills, all while passing this life I have been praying so hard for. He even had the audacity to tell me he was going to stop by the gym on the way home so he could get a quick workout in. I am more or less speechless. First comment says, "He sounds like he's checked out, not a care in the world," and I agree. I agree with that. OP replied and said, "Literally, I don't even know where to begin. You don't need to be a female to understand what I'm physically and emotionally going through right now, and with my career too. I don't even have the capacity to explain this common sense." As a woman, I have never experienced miscarriage, but I couldn't imagine going through through that and having the person that's supposed to be your partner and support you through everything just leave you high and dry and acts like nothing is happening. He does realize that's his kid too, right? That he's losing. That's also his child. It's not just your child, it's his too. He helped you conceive it. Am I overreacting for asking my boyfriend to stop calling my C-section the easy way out? I, 25 female, gave birth to our son 6 months ago via emergency C-section. It wasn't part of the plan, things got complicated, and it was scary, but we're both okay now. Lately, my boyfriend, 28 male, has had multiple comments about how I didn't really give birth or took the easy way out. He always says it like a joke, but the more he says it, the more it stings. He once even said it in front of his sister, who thankfully shut him down. You go, sister. I've tried to talk to him about it and he laughs and says, I'm too sensitive. It's not a real insult, babe. I just mean you didn't have to push. I explained that it was traumatic. It required surgery and I'm still recovering from it, but he keeps making the same stupid comment. I finally told him it really bothers me and if he can't stop, I'm not gonna laugh it off anymore. He got annoyed and said I'm making a big deal out of nothing. I feel like I overreacted, but I also feel disrespected. Am I being too emotional? Is it really just a joke? Your boyfriend sounds way too immature to be the same age as me. That's all I have to say. Have friends who have had C-sections and I can tell you it's not the easy way out. It's not. And even pushing, did you know some women can rip from the front and not just the back? That traumatized me. I learned that recently and I'm traumatized. Had I ripped the other way, I don't know, man. And both of us will have scars for the rest of our lives because of that. And also, he should have been more concerned about you and the child. How is he 28 and still acting like a 5-year-old? Did my boyfriend just try to gaslight me over cupcakes? So last night, I made cupcakes, like actually made them from scratch. Frosting too. Okay, girl, I see you. Over here being a chef. Not the box stuff, not the store-bought, real deal, love in every bite cupcakes. I told my boyfriend not to touch them because they were for my cousin's birthday. He said, cool, I won't. Fast forward to this morning, 5 are missing. Not 1, not 2, 5. I ask him about it and this man looks me in the eye and goes, are you sure you didn't miscount? I stood there blinking like a confused cat because what? Then he goes, they're just cupcakes. You're being dramatic. Excuse me? Dramatic? Over the 5 cupcakes I told him not to touch and he ate in secret? He probably sat in the corner like Gollum and he was like, precious. So I told him it's not about the cupcakes. It's about the disrespect and him acting like I imagined it. He hit me with, you're always making a big deal out of nothing. So now I'm sitting here with 7 cupcakes and a cousin expecting 12 and a boyfriend who's trying to Jedi mind trick me into believing I can't count baked goods. Am I overreacting or is this cupcake theft the tip of the gaslighting iceberg? I feel like I'm dating a walking red flag in a hoodie. That's because you probably are. Ooh. The first comment says you're underreacting. I was married to someone like him. I learned to look in the trash when he wasn't around after something disappeared and I knew he was lying about it. He would hear, don't eat any of those, and then prove to me that I don't control him by destroying or throwing away whatever it was. Wedding pics on one occasion. Negatives and all. By going way overboard on how obviously he was lying, he would be daring me to prove it, and if I did, he would say, well, you can't do shit about it, so you might as well shut the F up. Unless I left, there wasn't anything I could do to stop him, and he would keep doing whatever he wanted because he liked showing me that he had all the control. I don't think the cupcakes are the only thing your boyfriend has been using to put you in your place. It sounds like he feels like nothing but contempt for you and is daring you to stop him. He knows you can't, and the cupcakes one big middle finger flipped at you. Another comment said, I had a guy like this. Tell him not to do something and he does it in secret and then gaslights. If it really got specific and showed him evidence, he would act like I was was overreacting, call me crazy by bringing it up again, and then do a similar thing that wasn't exactly what I was upset about and start the cycle anew. It was all fun for him. Run, OP. Run like your tampon string is on fire. I don't think you're overreacting. You made cupcakes for your cousin's birthday and he ate them. He ate them like a little freaking gremlin. Gollum gremlin. Guy I'm dating gets up and peed in his room. Like he just stood up and peed on the floor? Okay, so I've been dating this guy for about a month. So far, he's been really nice, but I noticed he drinks pretty regularly. That is a quality I don't like, but it wasn't anything too crazy. I don't really like drinking either. One night, he had a couple mixed drinks and took melatonin. I didn't think much of it at the time. We go to bed. Then an hour later, he randomly gets up and I ask, "Are you okay?" And he proceeded to pee in the corner of his room. I was horrified, as we all would be. How do you even react to that? I yelled for him to wake up and stop, but he didn't. He emptied the tank completely and went back to bed. I got up and went to the couch to gather my thoughts. Then I woke him up and he apologized and cleaned it. Since then, however, I am completely disturbed. I don't believe in getting the ick really, but this is definitely the closest thing I've experienced to that. I realize this could be a mix of melatonin and whatnot, but I just cannot look past this. It grossed me out so much. Am I overreacting? No. A grown man got up and peed in the corner of his room. What are we even talking about right now? That is crazy. OP has an update. I ended up breaking things off with him. I mean, you guys were only together for a month, so no harm done. Now you know he's a weirdo that likes to pee in the corner. Thanks everyone for the advice. I was already feeling weary about things in general before this happened. I've had an inkling about a possible alcohol problem as well. Regardless if it were sleepwalking, I just can't get the image out of my head and the way I felt during it. Am I overreacting for finding a tampon wrapper in our trash? I live with a male partner. I haven't used them for 6 years. I was away overseas for 2 weeks, and when I returned, that was the only thing in the bathroom trash bin. He has never had friends over at our place outside of parties we held together, and I did not mention anyone coming over. He has lied to me in the past about social activities when I'm overseas, so this is not entirely unprecedented. At the very least, I assume this means he had a woman in the house that he didn't want me to know about. Is there any other plausible explanation for this, or is it time to pack my shit? What do you guys think? Is he cheating? Possibility. Or maybe he had his own big boy man period. Okay, OP has an update. The story as told by him is that this comes from the bin underneath the trash bag, and surely from his sister who visited over a year ago. Seems unlikely, since I've spent a year changing this particular bin and didn't notice anything before. Maybe it's true, and we've both been blind to the single tampon wrapper for a full year, but the previous dishonesty makes it pretty difficult to believe. I suppose the moral of the story is that if you lie enough times, you don't have credibility anymore. First comment says, ask him what he got up to while you were away and give him ample opportunity to voluntarily share. When he admits info about a woman being over, tell him that you found the tampon and try again. OP commented and said, that's the plan. We've been over lies by omission, and lying are both not really healthy in a relationship, but it's not like a new relationship norm I'm introducing. OP, I think it's time to put cameras in your house when you go overseas. It sounds like he be doing the dirty when you gone. Nasty, dirty. Maybe check your towels. In-laws think they own my condo. I've been with my wonderful partner for almost 3 years now. From day one, I knew I'm with someone who has less money than me, makes less money than me, and stand to inherit less money than me. I do not mind, because even though financially we're not able to contribute to the family equally, we're equals in our partnership overall because he's loving, dedicated, loyal, and patient. Also, an amazing cook. Oh, we like a guy who can cook. Go ahead, Gordon Ramsay. Cook it up. And to make it clear, I'm not super rich. I am simply blessed to be raised by parents with good financial management skills, and I live simply and frugally. Anyway, I already owned my condo before meeting him, and after we decided to get married, we pool our resources together and got a house. I put more money than him in order to make it happen, but again, I do not mind. With job promotion, the bank was even willing to work with me so I could get the condo as a rent property. It's tight, but it works for the long-term financial health of the family. Anyways, all is well except the in-laws. A bit of history, my partner has two sisters. For some reason, the parents totally favor the two girls to the point of lying to their son about financial hardship, get money out of him, and at a time when my partner wasn't in the best financial shape, then gift the money to the girls. Now that my partner is with someone richer, the in-laws are acting quite weird. Like, I put the condo up for rental and they're making comments like, wouldn't it be great if I kept that property vacant so that they could live there after they downsize? Or so the girls who were out of town could live there when they wanted to experience the big city. My partner was quick to point out that I'm seeking a long-term tenant to keep up with the mortgage payments because I couldn't afford to keep the place vacant for their needs. Also note that the parents made the comments supposedly in the form of casual joking in front of their son, not me, the legal owner of the condo. Then a few weeks ago, we took them out for a restaurant on Mother's Day, and in the middle of the meal, my partner's dad turned to him and said they are planning a round-the-world trip and hope to have it financed by their children. Here's the thing, my partner's sisters are broke. My partner is broke after putting all his money into his share of the down payment for the house. The only person who could be perceived as having money is me. Claiming to want to get the children to contribute to the trip is not really asking the daughters or my partner, it's about asking me, without even the decency of addressing the question to me. Fortunately, my partner is on the same page and we are equally shocked and disgusted by the request. I earned every single penny under my name through sweat and tears. I have no idea how someone could have the audacity to assume that they have the rights to it. I am planning to ask my partner if we can limit contact with his parents. Am I overreacting? Are the jokes really just jokes? Hurt and angry in Toronto. How should I approach or reveal to my fiance that I have every text, photo, and video of her cheating on me? So I have been having this terrible gut feeling that my fiance was not being honest with me about something that she was doing, something that she was wrong, and she was starting to act really weird and suspicious. I asked her about it and she said nothing is happening and then proceeded to get really angry, talking to me disrespectful and treating me like dirt, withholding affection and intimacy from me, punishing me for being concerned and noticing things, which, yes, is the number one sign that she is cheating. Over time, it got worse. She started leaving the house for a random errand and then not answering my call or text. When she did answer, I asked where she was and she responded by saying, "What does it matter? You don't have to know every single thing I do." Well, that set off huge red flags and she was really starting to get unpleasant to be around. She was only nice when she wanted me for something or to do something for her, and I finally had enough of her treating me like I was crazy and going insane, and even she told me that I needed to get help and that I was obsessed with her cheating. I'm no dummy and I'm smarter than I let on. So I played along, getting a professional to help me get all the proof I needed. My problem now is that I don't know what to do or how to expose it without being a complete asshole. But then again, I was starting to get very mentally unstable and I honestly started to crash out because I have morals and I'm loyal. Despite her behavior, I didn't want to do the same thing that she was doing to me. I love my husband, but I don't want to live with him. My 34 female husband, 41 male, and I have been together for 6 years. We have a 6-month-old, a 3-year-old, and a 7th-month-old, and I'm currently on maternity leave and he works full-time at a labor-intense job. Everyone has flaws, I recognize that. I love my husband as an intimate partner and friend, and he's an involved dad. I wouldn't hire him for childcare or anything, but he's definitely engaged in his own way with the kids. Example, he gets up every morning with our son to make him breakfast, puts our daughter to bed almost every night so I can deal with the baby. We'd be awesome co-parents. He always makes sure the kids are respectful and kind to me, totally sticks up for me. So the main problem, I hate living with him. Like, as a roommate, I absolutely absolutely hate living with him. He drinks, and I'm a recovering alcoholic. He leaves bottles around. He smokes and leaves the butt cartons and cigarettes everywhere. I hate cigarettes. Me too. I don't like them either, and I also don't like drinking. He's a stoner and leaves his weed stuff everywhere with inside of the kids. You guys can get CPS cold on you. You might wanna. He has ADHD and uses it as an excuse for everything. He never remembers anything, even if I remind him multiple times. Make lists for him, nag him, beg him. He'll forget, and any and all promises he has made and has agreed to. Walks throughout the house with dirty shoes on and is just generally dirty. I don't want a divorce or broken family, but I genuinely don't know what to do. I just absolutely hate living with him. My dream would be for him to have a trailer out back on our property that he lives in. I am fully aware that this is ridiculous, lol, but it makes me sad that it's truly my dream. Having him close by without having to live with him. What can I do to try to move forward so we can both be happy in our home? I think that you need to sit him down and have a serious conversation with him, especially with like the alcohol and the weed thing. Kids can get into anything, and that definitely shouldn't be left out. And if somebody walked in and saw that, they would call CPS on you. So just be careful, because that can happen. Girlfriend keeps photos of exes on her camera roll. My girlfriend and I took turns going through each other's camera rolls to get insight on our experiences. We went through mine and she had a few laughs and some stories told. We started going through hers from near the top and there's some photos of her ex. Personally, I delete everything afterwards to move on and feel like I'm not doing so is a little indicative of holding on to the past. I understand our experiences make us who we are, but I want to date my girlfriend, not a council of exes or whatever. Is this normal or am I being jealous? Potential red flag? I stopped the process when I saw that because I really don't want to see my girlfriend happy with another man. Would you feel comfortable if your partner had old photos of their ex in their phone? My landlord is taking my balcony. Hello. So I don't know what to do. I've lived in a townhouse for almost 8 months and I live on top. It's a duplex. About a month ago, my landlord asked me if I was home because she had a guy to check the balcony. 2 weeks ago, while I was asleep, I guess, my mom let her in and had some guys board up the entrance to my balcony. A few days later, I text her asking when the balcony will be finished because it's starting to get warmer since the layout of my house. The balcony is the best way to receive fresh air. Not even being dramatic, all the windows are small and my front door is downstairs. She then texted back saying it's not going to be fixed, it's going to be removed due to the new law. Buy a fan for your own self-convenience. I was not aware the balcony was going to be removed when I signed the lease. The lease does not mention anything about the balcony. Also, if it's going to be removed, she's going to have them plaster a new wall while me and my family are living in the house. This is my first time renting and I don't want to be an asshole, so like I don't even know what to do. Help! And there is an edit here I posted on my account about how my house currently looks as of right now. I live in Oakland, California. A lot of people are saying I'm a renter. She can do whatever she wants. It's not my place. Okay. I rented for how it was and she knew about the balcony for so long she couldn't have mentioned it, but instead comes after 7 months to inspect it, doesn't tell me anything, and then boards up my home that I'm renting. I understand since I'm a renter, most of you think that she's allowed to do whatever, but to randomly come and board up my biggest access of ventilation without any notice is my problem. Also, I am telling what I know. The lease says nothing about the balcony being removed. She didn't tell me anything at all. The day of the board, she just told my mom these people are here to look at the balcony, but they then drilled 2 pieces of wood. The balcony is a bonus, and plus it's a part of the lease. At least she could have done is communicate. I think if the balcony is a part of the rent, if that's like an incentive for you to rent, then she needs to lower your rent if she's getting rid of one of the extra, like the special parts of it. She needs to lower the rent if she's going to get rid of your balcony. Should I tell the truth to my boyfriend? Hi all, so I, female 18, started dating my boyfriend, male 19, 2 months ago. Everything is perfect and we get along super well. The only thing is that he doesn't like my friends. More specifically, my male and queer female friends. I'm bi if that adds to anything. I hang out with my friends a lot and every time I do, he always gets standoffish and dry when I tell him about it. After that, he'll bring it up a couple days later saying he doesn't trust my friends and starts getting mad at me. Keep in mind, he doesn't have any female friends. Apparently, they all dropped him after he got with me, and I have never had an issue with his female friends, and I even told him to go hang out with them. Today, I hung out with 3 of my friends who are guys. I've been friends with all 3 of them since grade 10 of high school. I lied to my boyfriend and told him that there were 2 girls there, but there wasn't. I feel terrible for lying, but I really don't want him to get mad at me again, and I really do love my friends, and I've never seen them as more than just friends. I know my friends also don't see me like that because they all have girlfriends who usually hang around too. They were just all busy this night, and they have never made a move on me in the 4 years we've been friends. When we do hang out, we usually order food, have some beers, and play some video games and watch a show. I never stay too late, and I don't even physically touch any of them for the whole duration that's there. No hugs and stuff because I don't like that, never have. Should I just have been honest with my boyfriend, or is lying about something like this okay to save my relationship? I don't see the harm in lying, and if it gives him a peace of mind, then why not, right? You guys are young. You said you're 18 and 19, and you've only been dating 2 months, and he already has an issue with you, and you're lying about hanging out with your friends. As somebody who has had a few life experiences, never give your friends up for somebody that you're dating. Your friends will always be there, but most partners will not. OP did post an update. Didn't expect this post to blow up, but wow. Well, it's about to now because I'm going to post it on the internet. You're gonna get posted. I've skimmed over the comments and I appreciate all the replies I've gotten. When I had posted this, I had just arrived home from the hangout. My boyfriend later texted me and got mad at me over text. He said that me having guy friends is shameful and embarrassing for him, and he has to worry about my female/lesbian bi friends too. He also mentioned how he should be the only man in my life and how he feels like he doesn't matter. I reassured him that he does matter to the most to me and that I love him very much. I would never cheat on him, etc. Then this turned into him expressing some mental health issues to me, not going into detail, and I got very worried. Going to see him later today. Commenter said the harm is having to lie to avoid conflict. If you can't accept that you have friends that you want to hang out with, the relationship isn't going anywhere. He sounds controlling. Drop this guy. Find a more compatible boyfriend, one you don't have to lie to. You know it's not good when you feel forced to be dishonest. And OP replied and said, honestly, you're right. I'm just going to tell him the truth straight next time I hang out with him. I don't feel like lying to him, and I wouldn't want to continue like this. Thanks. My niece is expecting her bachelorette party to be paid for the second time around and is now very upset that isn't the case. My husband and I, 55, 52, have always paid for the bachelorette party for our nieces, goddaughters, and daughter-in-laws. We cruise a lot and enjoy it. We went on one for our honeymoon and always thought a weekend cruise for a bachelorette would be so fun. So when our first niece married, we sent her bridal party on a short cruise. All included spa plus special gift, and have been doing so for all the brides in our family ever since. We have a very big family, so yes, brides know and look forward to their bachelorette party being paid for. I always bring this up when the bride first starts her planning because cruises also take time to plan. I always work with the MOH and make it a really wonderful, fun weekend where the bride doesn't have to lift a finger and her bridal party doesn't spend a cent. Here's the issue. Our niece Leah, 33, is marrying for the second time. We are so happy for her and her husband to be announced to the family at Christmas. Their wedding is in July. We did not plan on throwing a bachelorette party when our goddaughter remarried, for example. We didn't. It wasn't expected. We are Mexican and the godparents are very involved in paying for the wedding. Leah's grandmother has already declined to pay for the dress or flowers, but her godfather is paying for her rehearsal dinner. As far as I know, there was no issue with this. My other niece, Yvette, recently pulled me aside and let me know that she was planning a night out bachelorette for her sister Leah, as she's the MOH. Maid of honor. I was wondering what that meant. I was like, MOH? Maid of honor. I finally figured out, you guys. She said Leah was surprised by this and assumed she was getting a weekend cruise. once. Not once has anyone brought this up since the wedding was announced. I do understand that maybe I should have been, but since we hadn't paid for our goddaughter's second bachelorette, I didn't think I needed to. Yvette said that she tried to calm her sister down and said Leah had a huge meltdown that no one was taking the wedding seriously. No one was helping to make it special and that she was being punished for being divorced. This wasn't the case at all. We are having a huge party. We are still celebrating. It's just not like the first wedding. None of her bridal party, which is all family including my two daughters, expected this trip, only the bride. I spoke with Leah and told her how badly I felt that the wires had gotten crossed, and she told me it was okay and that we could plan the cruise now. I told her not only was it fairly late to begin planning a cruise for July, but her uncle and I didn't plan on paying for a second bachelorette. She was gutted and I felt so bad. What do I do here? I told Yvette I could pick up the tab for their night out and pay for a spa day. Yvette told me no and that Leah is just being a brat. I don't think she's being a brat. I do think that she is expecting too much. Leah also felt it wasn't fair that she was just paying for one thing when everyone else gets a weekend. I just don't want Leah to feel like her wedding isn't being respected or taken seriously. I've even considered setting up a cruise for her and her new husband and having that be our wedding gift. My husband doesn't like that idea. He feels a cash gift and paying for a spa day is more than enough. What would you do in my situation? Have I really messed up here? I really feel so badly and would like some outside advice on how to handle this. It sucks you got divorced, but you shouldn't just expect things from people and then try to force them to give it to you. Seems a little bit bratty to me. It does seem pretty bratty. Is it okay to not want to move in together even after being in a relationship for years? I, 31 male, have been with my girlfriend, 30 female, for almost 3 years now. Things are good, but recently she's been bringing up the idea of moving in together and I'm just not into it. It's not that I don't love her or see a future, I just really like having my own space. I sleep better alone, I enjoy my routines, and honestly, I think the relationship works better when we each have our own place. She sees it as the next step and I get that, but I'm starting to wonder, is there something wrong with me for not wanting that? Do all serious relationships have to end up under the same roof? Has anyone here stayed in a long-term relationship without ever moving in together? Does it actually work or is it just delaying the inevitable? I personally think that if you're going to be in a long-term and you see a future with somebody, you have to eventually live with them, but I know there's a new trend going around now where a lot of couples are having their own rooms. So maybe if you guys got a place that had 2 bedrooms and then you could have one room and she can have one room, that would be good. Then you guys have your own space, and the shared space you guys can have rules about, so that way nobody is questioning what to do in the shared space. Yeah, one of the comments here said separate bedrooms are amazing. I agree. I like separate bedrooms. And if you guys wanted, if you had separate bedrooms, you guys could also stay in each other's rooms too. Like if she were to come over to your place now and spend the night, it would be the same thing, except you guys would be under the same roof, but you would still have your own space and she would have her own space. You can decorate how you want, she can decorate how you want, and then you have one shared space in between for things that you would do mostly at sleepovers anyways. So I think it is delaying the inevitable a little bit, but there are ways around it for both of you to feel comfortable. I think you should talk to your partner though. That's one big thing I think a lot of people miss, is not communicating with their partners about serious, huge life changes. I think we should worry less about how maybe she will react, but more so about talking about how you feel about it. Unless both of you are okay with not moving in with each other, but it seems like she wants to move in with you. So I don't know. I, 22 male, found a hidden camera in my room placed by my stepmother, late 40s. There was no SD card in it, but it was recording and sending a feed to her phone. She is on vacation right now. What do I do? So as the title says, I was in my room and noticed something behind my old computer. There was a camera positioned in between the bottom of the monitor, pointed directly at my bed. I get changed in this room and is really creeping me out. For context, we do not like each other at all. In the past 10 years, she has been physically and mentally abusive, not only to me, but also my father. I do not stand for it at all. Sadly, my father does. When I told him about it, he just said, "Oh, that's bad." And that was it. I want to press charges. I want to take this as far as I possibly can. One issue, the camera has no SD card and she is in the Philippines on vacation. What would be the best course of action? I was thinking along the lines of confronting her via phone call and recording the call and asking why she hid a camera in my room. It's unplugged now, but yeah, as I said before, I'm creeped out insanely by this and don't really know what the next steps would be. My boyfriend's friend confessed his love to me. What do I do? Tell him to skedaddle. My 20 female boyfriend, 21 male, works in a small shop in the middle of town. There's only one other person besides the owner that works in that shop, and it's his coworker, 23 male. I'm a college student, but I do classes remotely from home for varied personal and location reasons. Because of this, I've been giving my boyfriend rides to and from work for the past few months. He had a car but gave it to his mom for personal reasons not really important, which is when and how I met the coworker. I stopped into the store this afternoon. My boyfriend forgot his key this morning and needed to lock up later tonight. I also wanted to pick up some groceries, so I thought I'd kill two birds with one stone. I forgot to text my boyfriend I was on the way and not thinking anything of it, and walked into the store to find the coworker tending the counter. I said hello like usual and walked over to give him the key. I don't really talk to the coworker. I'll be polite and greet and stuff, but most of our conversations, which is small talk, is about his mom. She was a teacher at my high school and she taught me a lot of things my severely underfunded school would have never thought of, simple things like sewing, studying tips, saving, etc. So when I found out the coworker's last name was the same as my teacher's last name, I got pretty excited and wanted to ask about her. So after explaining the whole key thing to the coworker, I asked about his mom, and I don't know what inspired him to say this or where it even came from, but he just suddenly blurted out, "I'm in love with you." I immediately turned to leave. It felt like my skin was crawling and I was just overall uncomfortable. And just as I was about to make it out the door, my boyfriend walked in said door. I gave him the key and a peck on the cheek before hightailing it out of there. Oh my God. He walked it. What if he would have walked in on him saying that? He literally walked in seconds after. My boyfriend doesn't really have any close friends. He cut off most of his friends from his high school before we met. And coworker is one of his closest friends besides one of my friends and the other guy from high school who joined the military. Coworker and my boyfriend get along great, and I want to tell my boyfriend more than anything, but I don't want to ruin his friendship either. Well, you didn't ruin the friendship, the friend did, for confessing his love to you. He's been texting me and asking me if I'm okay since I suddenly hightailed it out of there this morning, and I just told him that I had a test I was running late for. I feel horrible for keeping this from him, even if it's just been an hour or two, but I want to get my head straight and figure out how to navigate this first. OP has an edit. I called my boyfriend immediately after reading some of the responses, realizing that me not immediately telling him could further harm a relationship, and that coworker already damaged the friendship by saying that to me. I do agree about the coworker, but I think it would be safer to tell him at home when he is not at work with this person. We sat down at my favorite cafe together and I asked him how work was going, and before I even told him, my boyfriend told me that coworker was acting strange. That's when I told him. My boyfriend took it a lot better than expected. I fully expected him to be fuming, mad, not at me but at his friend. There was a time in the past we went to the city and I was groped and catcalled, which made him act like one of those angry police canines, but he was very calm. After telling my boyfriend thoroughly, explaining every step of the morning and how it made me feel, since I really don't know this guy, the most I know about him is his mom and random things my boyfriend will occasionally mention. And obviously because I'm in a very happy relationship, it made me very uncomfortable. He simply nodded and told me he would talk to coworker about it, and we had a normal lunch together like it never happened. Got humiliated in front of the class, waited weeks to return the favor. We were never friends, just the kind of classmates who sat near each other, swapped jokes when it suited her, and ignored each other the rest of the time. One day in class, I said something dumb, not even trying to be funny, just honest, and saw an opening. Loud voice, smug grin, whole class watching. Oh my God, are you actually that stupid? Oh my God, Karen, you're so stupid. Later, attention! Teacher didn't even check it. I laughed it off, but inside, that stung. Laughter. Attention. Teacher didn't even check it. I laughed it off, but inside, that stung. You know when you replay something later and think, I should have said something back? I didn't. Instead, I waited. A couple weeks later, we had a group project. She ended up in mine, not her first choice. She didn't do much, but she thought she could still coast off the work. So when it came time to present, I gave the teacher the version I finished without her part in it. Told him she didn't contribute and gave proof. She looked confused when she didn't get called up, more confused when she got marked separately, and probably the most confused when she asked if I said anything and I just said, didn't think you wanted my input. You said I was stupid, remember? I didn't make a scene, didn't raise my voice, but I still heard someone go, damn, from the back of the room. She never spoke to me again. I can only imagine the kid in the back is like, damn, son, where'd you find this? Someone said, you think it was a in the style of Smokey from Friday. Definitely Smokey from Friday. God, Karen, you're so stupid. Am I the asshole for leaving the family gathering after husband accidentally showed a nude picture of me? Me, 35 female, and my husband, 36 male, were at a family gathering today. I left and went home myself after something happened. My husband is still there as I am typing this, and I wouldn't be surprised if he stays the night. My husband was showing pictures of our new dog to my in-laws, including my sister-in-law, a 16-year-old daughter. He was flipping through the pictures until he landed on a picture of me nude. I'm not going to describe it in detail, but it's bad that my in-laws saw it. I never even consented to it. My husband stayed on the photo for a second before swiping, and everyone sitting there saw it. My father-in-law made a comment about my boobs, and I headed right for the back door, turning back and giving my husband the finger. He texted me saying, why did you leave? While I'm scared of the verbal conflict that will start when he comes back. Not the asshole. Your father-in-law? Your father-in-law is a pervert. Your father-in-law is probably that old man from Family Guy who tries to get Chris in his basement. Am I the asshole for hiding that I'm homeless from my girlfriend? I'm 18 and I'm dating my girlfriend who just turned 20. I've been in foster care since I was 13. I lucked out when I was younger and had some good homes, but for the most recent one I had was really bad. I've been homeless for 1 month now and it's exhausting hiding it from my girlfriend. One of the jobs I work is a local martial arts gym in the city, which I sneak back into at night because I have keys for lockup. I am pretty sure the owner knows I'm sleeping here because there are cameras and he hasn't said anything. Sometimes he leaves me food, so I'm doing okay for being homeless. Aw, that's so nice of your boss, though. I'm saving up and trying to find another job so I can make money faster to find a place to live. I'm staying out of trouble, I don't drink alcohol, and I don't do drugs. That's great, OP. That's good. You're doing great. Besides the homeless part, obviously. My girlfriend lives in a university dorm with a roommate. She goes to a prestigious school that she worked really hard to get into. Tonight, she said I have sad eyes and she asked me if something was wrong. I wanted to break down and tell her everything. Instead, I said I was sleepy and I hugged her and then made a joke which distracted her and changed the subject. I know in a relationship you're supposed to be honest. I guess I have pride or something. All of these years growing up, there were so many times I felt I had no dignity. So it's really hard for me to let go of this pride or whatever you want to call it. It's hard to explain. Besides, she can't really help me. It would just be adding to her stress. So, am I the asshole for thinking I can find a place, get settled in, basically fix this problem, and then tell her? I see these on TikTok all the time, and I know what I'm asking is not the same as wedding drama or marriage drama, but I thought I would give it a shot by being anonymous and all. First comment says, not the asshole, but it sounds like you're talking yourself out of opening up to her. She might not be able to fix everything, but she can offer support. It sounds like you could really use that right now. I think it would be important to tell your girlfriend where you are because as a relationship, you would want your significant other to know that you're safe, number one, of all things. So I do think that you need to tell her, but I don't think you're an asshole for hiding it. I just think that you're not an asshole for hiding it. It can be really difficult to talk about those things to someone, especially if you're kind of worried about how she might feel about it, if you think it would worry her too much, but that's also something that she would have to deal with on her own. I know you don't want to add to her stress, but hiding things from her, if you plan on keeping this as a long-term relationship, it's best to be upfront now. And we have an update. Howdy, I just wanted to come back and share that I ended up confiding in my girlfriend about my homelessness. Oh, that's great. Okay. She was devastated for me, but ultimately, I'm really glad I pushed myself to tell her the truth. It was really eating at me, and it was a huge relief in itself to no longer be carrying around on top of everything else. We're still together, also a huge relief. Oh, thank goodness. I'm glad that your girlfriend is understanding of the situation. My girlfriend is keeping my homelessness a secret. One thing I haven't shared with her or anyone outside of you guys is that I continue to struggle with feelings of shame and inadequacy about the situation. I know those are more of my internal dialogue and not necessarily how others perceive me, given that they don't really know. I'm trying hard to keep my head up and maintain my self-worth and convince myself that I'm not trash. Which, OP, you are not trash. Your living situation doesn't define who you are as a person. You are actively trying to get your own place, and I think focusing more on trying to get a second job and trying to get your own place is what is more important than what other people think of you at this point. But I don't really think that there's nothing to be ashamed of. I also ended up telling the owner of the gym I've been crashing there. As I suspected, he knew about it but doesn't want to acknowledge it for insurance purposes. So essentially, this conversation didn't happen. He said I can keep doing it given that I find housing ASAP. I have to move on to a new place to sleep if I'm still homeless in a few weeks. I've got 2 places pending that I know of are strongly considering me. I'd happily take either one. Affordable housing here is very difficult to come by and competitive. There's a lot of interest per listing. I started expanding my search area and this helped, although my commute is going to be rough. Thanks again to everyone who commented on my other post. But hopefully, OP, if you see this, please leave an update on if you found a place or not. I want to know if you found a new home. Am I the asshole for refusing to breastfeed the twins I was a surrogate for? I, 32 female, served as a surrogate to my 36 female sister who couldn't bear children as a result of her cancer treatments. I carry twins for her and her husband using their embryos. The delivery took place 3 months ago. This is where it got bizarre. My sister keeps requesting me to breastfeed since the breast is best and she can't lactate. I agreed at first since I wanted to assist her, but it is taking over. She insists that I visit her 5 or 6 times a day or express milk enough for all meals. I work full time and I have my own 4-year-old child to look after. I informed her I would need to reduce to perhaps twice a day and some expressed milk, and she burst out crying, telling me I was depriving the babies of an opportunity at optimal health. Her husband sent a text saying that I was selfish as I already did the hard part and should still assist them. But if she already did the hard part, then why does she need to keep assisting you? The situation boiled over yesterday when I walked in and discovered my sister had created a bedroom for me and insisted that I just come in to feed the twins whenever they wanted. I told her no and mentioned that formula was a perfectly adequate way to supplement. She took offense and said I was abandoning my nephews and breaking our agreement. I left without giving them food. My mom said my sister and I should be more understanding about her situation, but to be honest, I feel my body is being used as a dairy farm. Am I the asshole if I wouldn't want to be their full-time milk supply? Not the asshole. You set a boundary and she did not accept it. You told her no. No is an adequate answer to an adult. Am I the asshole for refusing to buy my boyfriend's daughter a gift and silencing notifications while I was away on a business trip? Apologies in advance for the long post. I, 32 female, won an 8-day business trip to Japan. I work as an external consultant for a company. This would be a visit to scale our services. Me and 3 other colleagues would visit, but we would do this at the same site for only 2 days until we were spread out to other areas. Was very excited until I told my boyfriend Brian, 38 male of 8 months. His reaction wasn't very positive. I asked what was going on and he said he was spaced out because of situations at his job. He assured me everything was fine. Days later, he asked if I could take him. This caught me off guard and I said I needed to think about it. And then he said he would want his daughter to come along. I understand his point. She's 17 female, loves anime, and has impressive knowledge on some of the very niche characters. But also, I have my own kids, ages 4 and 5, and I would rather share that breakthrough with them, although realistically talking, bringing them would be unprofessional. My accommodations were paid for by the client, and I had already confirmed. I got a nice accommodation, but it was definitely booked for a single traveler. My colleagues had other rooms. Bringing his daughter would require a separate bedroom or suite. I would not go back to cancel the accommodation or ask for a larger space, which is unthinkable, or do anything to mess up the schedule. When I told Brian, he said I should be able to ask for more changes. I also realized that he wasn't ready to pay for any of this since he said he would reimburse me later. I'm financially okay, but the whole idea of this trip is to make more money, not spend it, and potentially be unable to recover it. Also, this was never a vacation or anything, and he said things that showed me he didn't understand / believe me that me and my team were on a tight schedule. I could clearly spend time with him and his daughter after work, but bringing them at another time and not in that situation. I didn't ask the client at all because I was embarrassed. Also, I began to worry about his sense of humor. It's not like I've mastered Japanese business etiquette, but I would take the time to learn. And Brian sometimes does things that get him in trouble. We would be having dinner with our client and colleagues, and I could either have him stay at the hotel, not a great way to treat a partner, or bring him along if that was permitted. Awkward, especially if it messes up the accommodation schedule. When I candidly expressed my concern, he got extremely pissed off and gave me the silent treatment. This stressed me out, and I told him I left for the airport while he was still not talking to me. We talked only a few times while I was abroad. His daughter did not reply to any of my messages. I don't know if he falsely told her she was getting an early high school graduation trip or if she was just mad at me. I got a hold of a huge plush anime character and took a selfie asking if she liked it. No answer. About 1 or 2 days before I flew back, he started texting me with requests. He wanted me to get XYZ and this and that for his daughter and nieces. I got very angry because she didn't even reply but had no problem asking for more stuff, and that put me off. I told him his daughter never replied to any of my messages and he didn't say anything about it. I ended up silencing his notifications and buying presents only for my family. When I got back, all I wanted was to spend time with my kids since I have never been away from them. I kept putting off to see Brian until last Friday when we met for pizza. He looked uncomfortable. He said I let his daughter down by allowing her to think that she was going to get the plush toy, and also in disbelief when I confirmed that I didn't bring her anything. I told him that I didn't think it mattered since she completely blanked me out. We had a back and forth. There was no resolution. I feel more lost than this whole thing started, and I feel like he thinks a gift for his daughter was the solution to everything, and I disagree. I'm doing my best to create a good future, and I'm a bit on the fence about continuing the relationship. I care about him and his kid, but I'm afraid of being used or dragged down. And the way he pressured me made me feel uncomfortable. I'm also a bit hurt because I had built a relationship with his daughter, and not getting a single reply to my messages is honestly a bad look. I'm tempted to think that she's either angry because I didn't agree to bring them along, or maybe he told her to ignore me. I am planning on ending things because I need clarity, but also maybe I'm being unfair. I think there's a possibility that he got overly excited and got carried away, but I know he will likely be unable to pay me back. Am I the asshole? I say no, not the asshole. You do not owe anyone anything, and it sounds like boyfriend lied. OP has shared an update. Thanks to everyone for their advice and input. I just want to clarify about the plush toy incident. His daughter and I used to spend time together or some afternoons after school while he was at work. I did give her spontaneous gifts that she enjoyed. We would email each other back and forth during her time with her mom, joint custody. When I sent the toy picture, I wanted to know if it was up her alley. I would have brought it if she said that she liked it, but got the silent treatment instead. I know some of you think I was wrong for not bringing her anything, but part of my decision to leave him comes from the feeling that they acted like an exclusive clique where others cannot be accepted unless they give. She left me on scene and left me asking hello like an idiot. He wanted to come to my place, but I didn't allow it. I drove to his place instead and delivered 2 packages that had been delivered to my P.O. box and told him that I would return any mail or packages addressed from him from now on. The conversation was very short and very sour, and conceded for me to feel any interest in prolonging the relationship. He tried to explain that his daughter was hurt because she had her hopes up on the trip, but I said this was a lesson for her that she learns to work for her own things when she becomes an adult instead of piggybacking her way. And also, this is on him as a father. I took off to avoid more back and forth. I asked him to never contact me again and blocked them both. I already changed my locks and changed all of my streaming passwords, etc. All right, you guys, that was our last story. It's time to wrap this up because it's getting late and I need to go to bed. And also, my butt hurts from sitting in this chair for too long. If you liked this episode, just make sure to give me a subscribe and a like on this video if you want to see more, and also tune in next week for more episodes. Don't forget to check out my socials for all of the stories I'm going to be posting. And I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!